Hello and welcome to another video of IELTS Master. For today's video, we will be concentrating on writing task 1 for academic. And for today's video, I have selected a graph that is more or less complicated and students sometimes find difficulty to write that graph because it has a lot of information. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and if you're already a subscriber, don't forget to share the video and like the video, and also don't forget to hit the bell button so that you will be getting all the notifications whenever I'm posting my videos. So let's see what the graph says. The graph below shows information on employment rates across 6 countries in 1995 and 2005. So this is a graph that is showing employment rates, means how many people got jobs in that year. And it is a graph about 6 different countries for these 2 years. So now let's check out the graph. So this is the graph that is seen, and you can see that employment rates by country at the top. Then the year is also mentioned, or the years are also mentioned. And also they have given you the color coding for what it stands for. So if it is blue, it will be male in the year 1995. If it's red, it is male in the year 2005. For female in the year 1995, it's green, and purple is for female in 2005. And you can see that in this side, the left hand side, they have given you certain scale, and it starts from 0, goes up to 90. At the bottom, you can see the countries' names: Australia, Switzerland, Iceland, UK, New Zealand, and USA. So that is what the graph is all about, and it has a lot of information. To be honest, it does not matter how you are writing this graph, as long as you are providing all the details regarding what is asked in the graph. So in this graph, what we will be doing, we will be trying to compare and contrast the information that is given. For this, you can either group the graph by male with specific years and female with specific years, or you can just group by the countries, like 3 countries in each of the body para. It depends up to you how you want to group them. But ultimately, if you are comparing it properly, you will be getting the band score. There will be no issue with that. And with that being said, let's start and see how we are writing the task. So now let's see what kind of vocabularies we can provide for the task. We can say the given or the supplied vertical bar or column graph, or even you can say chart. And when it says it shows this, you can say states. You can even say shows, compares, displays, exhibits, provides. You can say percentage, ratio, rate of employment. You can say in 6 different countries around the world, and then name them like the way we have done in our answer. And the last one is when you are talking about the years, you can say the years taken into consideration or the year selected. And again, for both male and female, because male and female is not mentioned in your question, and you can go ahead and add that very well. Now let's begin with our answer. Introduction. The exhibited vertical column chart provides information of how many males and females were hired in 6 different countries around the world. To be precise, now here I'm trying to add what 6 countries are given in the graph. In Australia, Switzerland, Iceland, the UK, New Zealand, and the USA, for the following 2 years, 1995 and 2005. So if we try to go back to the chart and try to compare what we have written, so we have written is the exhibited vertical column chart, and this is the given bar graph, and we have said that it provides information of how many males and females, so we can see males and females, were hired in 6 different countries around the world. So yes, it is about the employment rates by country, and there are 6 different countries. And for the following years, 1995 and 2005. So yeah, there are the years that is also listed. That means we have completed writing the first half, or the first, like the starting introduction point of this graph. Now let's move to body para. At a glance, in 1995, the proportion of men being employed in New Zealand, Switzerland, and Iceland was 60% and up. Let's go to the map and see if that's the same. So, in the year 1995, and that is for males, we were checking, and we said New Zealand, so this one, Switzerland, so this one, and Iceland, so this one. And we said that the employment rate was 60% or high. So, Switzerland, yes, higher than 60%. Iceland, way higher than 60%. It is even higher than 70%. New Zealand, it is just 60%. So that qualifies if I'm saying it was 60% and up or and high. Next, whereas for countries such as the USA, Australia, and the UK, the hiring rate was below 60% for the same gender. By same gender, I mean male or men. And now let's see what is happening in these 3 countries in the graph. So we said that in USA, Australia, and UK, so Australia below 60%, yes. UK below 60% again, yes. USA just below 60%, so yes, that is satisfying what I'm writing. Next, let's see what we have written. In the same year, it was noticed that the percentage of women who got jobs in all of the 6 aforementioned countries was below 60%. So this para is more or less focusing on the 60%, as that's how I'm seeing the graph. But there can be cases where you are seeing the graph in a different way, and you can write that graph like the body para 1 in a different way. But for me, it was in the same year I noticed that women, like in 1995, all the females and their employment rate was below 60%. So let's check the green one, way below 60% for Australia, Switzerland above 50% but less than 60% for sure, Iceland less than 60%, UK less than 60%, New Zealand way less than 60%, and the USA is also less than 60%. And that means what we have written in the first body para is nothing we have exaggerated, like nothing we have put extra on our from our end, or even we haven't reduced anything. So this is something that should be mentioned, and if you want to mention that in a different way, because this graph has a huge potential by itself, you can write the graph in any way you want. For me, if I'm writing all of the information, the first para or the body para will be way bigger, and it will have much more words than it is required. So this is how I try to be precise and put every single point going by the average way, like this is there and this is not there. Now let's move to the second body para. So in the second body para, we have mentioned probing further after a gap of 10 years. So yeah, one is in 1995, another is in 2005, so 10 years gap. After a gap of 10 years in 2005, job recruitment rates for males and their counterparts had a minimal variation. The approximate difference in the proportion of employment between the two, that is, females from males, was a maximum of 12% for Switzerland, the UK, and the USA. Now, this line might be complicated, but here I have tried to put as much information I can because the graph in itself is a bit on the complicated end. It is not as simple like it is about one commodity for 1 year for one country. It is about multiple things happening at the same time. And for that reason, I have tried to make it look that in this year, that is 2005, the recruitment rates for both gender or for males and their counterparts had a minimal variation, that is difference. And I have also mentioned the approximate difference, like what was the approximate difference, what is almost this. And it was for Switzerland, UK, and USA. So let's check what we are trying to say here. 2005 males, red, 2005 females, purple. So if we try to check red and purple, let's see for the countries we have mentioned, Switzerland, UK, and USA, what is the difference? So Switzerland, let's check red with purple. The difference is not that much. UK, again, the difference is not that much. USA, the difference is not that much. So it is a minimal difference between males and females when it comes to the rate of employment in 2005. Now, however, a disparity was noticed in the case of Australia, New Zealand, and Iceland, where the gap between men and women employment per 100 was 30, 29, and 41, respectively, in 2005. So here you can even omit the year because we are talking about 2005 in the beginning of the para, or you can put this in a bracket. It does not matter how you're mentioning, but if you feel that, yeah, I have already mentioned 2005 and I will be just putting in the same year, for example, you can put that thing too in the same year. So in the same year, like 2005, we are giving a reference of that. And this is also helpful and it helps to get you a good band score if you're giving the reference and giving that correctly. So disparity is a huge difference. And the disparity was noticed for Australia, New Zealand, and Iceland. And we have provided, because I wanted to give this structure of respectively, I have provided this. If you want to put it like on an average, it was seen 29, or on an average, it was 30, you can mention that as well. That is also a good structure, but respectively is something I prefer to show in this writing, so I have mentioned that. And let's go back to the graph first. So the countries we mentioned were Australia, and we are focusing on the red and purple. So for Australia, I can see a huge gap, and New Zealand, again a huge gap, and Iceland, a huge gap. So three countries with minimal gaps and three countries with huge gap, and that is what I have compared and contrasted in the body para 2. Now let's move to the overall. Overall, it is noticeable that over a decade, there has been a considerable increase when it comes to the percentage of people for both genders being hired in the six different countries: Australia, Switzerland, Iceland, the UK, New Zealand, and the USA. So here I have tried to mention all the countries once again. It is up to you if you want to mention that or not. I have mentioned this because, again, if I'm giving all the countries' names at the end, sometimes it is clarified, or even you can omit that. It's totally up to you. And overall, I have said that it is noticeable that after a decade, that is, after a gap of 10 years, that is just a synonym that I have mentioned, there has been a considerable increase because every single graph we will see now, let's compare blue with red and green with purple. Increase, 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 increase in Iceland. UK increase, increase. New Zealand increase, increase. USA increase, increase. So every single bar that you are seeing for 2005, there has been an increase, significant increase. And that's what I have tried to mention, and that can be your overall. It depends on you again how you are writing your task one, because for this task, there was more than enough information. But if you can group it in a better way, you can write that in a better way, that is up to you. But this is how I prefer to write because I wanted my graph to look precise, but at the same time not to omit something that is more important. Last but not the least, let's check the synonyms that is used in the graph. So for employment rates, you can say rate of employment, proportion of people being employed or hired, hiring rate, percentage of people getting jobs, recruitment rates. There are so many different words that you can put, but it is like recommended that you can use 3 or 4 words like the synonyms and try to use that in different paras because it is like, to be honest, during examination it is really hard to get a new synonym with each and every new line you are writing. So that's like you can use 3 or 4. That's totally fine. Second, the words that are used the most was males and females. So we can say people from both genders, men and women, male, female, like male and their counterparts, female and their counterparts. Counterparts means the other half. And with regards to the essay, or sorry, with regards to the graph that we have here, it is male and their counterparts or female and their counterparts if we go by that way. And last but not the least, this year, because we are repeating it everywhere, you can mention that in year, like in 2005, in 1995, or whenever you're comparing after a gap of 10 years, and at the end I have mentioned after a decade. So you can put it in that way as well. So that was the end of the video. If you like this video, thanks for watching. And if you go ahead, like and share this video with your friends or whoever is preparing for their IELTS exam, it will be awesome. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button. And if you're preparing your IELTS exam, all the best for that.